Hi, and welcome to Horror Movies and Beyond, a show about reviewing horror movies for the living to understand the dead. And I'm your host, Ivotres Littles, and today I have a really awesome special guest, director Ivan Knavangh, who directed Shudder original Son. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And how are you? How are you out there?
Good. I live in Sweden at the moment, and we have a bit of a heat wave here. So, as an Irish man, I'm always complaining about the heat. So I'm not dying here. I'm melting. But everyone.
Yeah, it's hot. Yeah, it's hot. It is hot. I have the air conditioner off, so I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? But the heat is so worth talking to you about this film. So, man, I watched Son and I was blown away. It's amazing. So tell us what the movie's about.
It's about a, well, I don't want to give too much away, but basically it's about a mother, and she has an 8-year-old son, and she may or may not be on the run from a cult, and they want her son. And one night they turn up, in the middle of the night, they turn up in his room. He falls into this illness, and I don't want to say any more just in case I spoil it. There's a lot of twists and turns in there.
There is a lot of twists and turns, and the movie, it went from 0 to 60 so fast. What inspired you to write and direct this film?
Well, like all my films, I needed to come from a fairly personal place for me to get into it, just as a way into the story. So it was actually after the birth of my son, just under 6 years ago, and he had a very difficult birth, and me and my wife were very worried about him for the first few months of his life, you know. Mm-hmm. And during those sleepless nights, I just started jotting down those ideas, you know, and I could see how close he and my wife were becoming. You know, that mother and son bond is so special, you know. It's different from the mother or from the son and father. There's something primal about mother and son bonds, you know. And mm-hmm. I began to think, is there anything a mother wouldn't do to protect her son? How far would she go to make him better again, you know? And that began my thought process. That and my own feelings about feeling helpless, you know, having a sick child and stuff, and not be doing it, not able to do anything to help them. Those sorts of feelings went into the film as well. I remember I was at a film festival a few years ago, and I got talking to this guy who went to see my film, The Canal, and he worked in a maximum security prison, you know, and he worked with murderers and people who did awful things. And he said to me, it was really interesting, I thought, that it was nearly always the mothers who turned up to see their sons. It was hardly ever the fathers. Oh. And it seemed to him that the mothers could forgive almost anything, no matter how horrific the crime was. Started the thought process as well. So it was a combination of things, really.
It is true. Mothers do, forgive quite a bit more than any other relative in the family. And you Absolutely. Definitely really see that in this film. I mean, mm-hmm. Yes, there's, possibly a cult, possibly not, possibly in her imagination or not. But the focus was at what she would do for her son. And it was so mother's love. And you could feel that. And I think to bring that out is the casting as well. The casting was fantastic. I mean, there's nothing more to say, but how did you get such a great casting for this? I mean, you have, what was it, Andy Matica? You have Luke David Bloom, who played her son, David. His performance is unmatched. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. I mean, kids today in these films are taking it to the next level. I mean, I've seen quite films, growing up, kids are, they're quirky, they're funny, ha ha ha. In some horror films, they're the laughing part of it. But now, lately, they have stepped up the game on their performance, and you definitely seen it in this film. And then you have Emil Hirsch, who plays Paul the detective. And he is no stranger to anything creepy.
Yeah, well, with Emil, I had worked with him on my previous film, Never Grow Old, the Western I made. And at the end of that, he said to me, you know, I really love working with you. I like the way you work. If there's anything you think I might be suited to. And I said, actually, I have this script that I'm going to do next. And it was Son, you know, and he really liked the part. The part was really low key and it's completely different from the type of parts he usually plays, you know. Yeah, we just get on really great. We have a shorthand because we worked with each other before, and you know, he's a great guy to have around the set as well because he keeps the mood up. He's always joking, and the crew really love him. And yeah, I mean, Emil was an easy fit for that part, and it was easy for me to cast him in that. Andy, I had met through one of our producers, Renee Bastien, auditioned her for another part, and he showed me that audition. And she was fantastic for this audition that she did for this audition tape, you know. And then I just Skyped with her, and we just really hit it off. I could see what a strong, intelligent person she was. I could see that Andy was instantly likable, and I knew the character of Laura needed to be instantly likable because she does some really questionable stuff, you know. The moment I talked to Andy, I knew it had to be her, and she just totally committed. You know, she did something I do for all of the actors is I write a character history for them. So she did so much research into the type of life would have led in the cult, things like that. She just threw herself into it. And the final piece of the puzzle was, of course, Luke, and auditioned about 550 kids. And some of the kids were great, but they were movie kids, you know, they acting to be in movies. They didn't seem like real kids. And something I wanted was David needed to feel like a real child that you could have empathy for, you know. And
yes.
Then out of the blue, from Atlanta, we got this tape, self-tape that Luke did, an audition tape, and he was just so natural. I met him and his father. We did some improv together, and I could see immediately it had to be him, you know. So I rang the producers, we found the kid, and it was a big sigh of relief, I think, that we found him. But he just totally committed to the part. He was amazing. And something about Luke is he has an amazing father as well. So he's a bit of an acting coach for Luke. So I was able to say things like to Luke's father, you, not Luke, should watch Cries and Whispers, say by Ingmar Bergman, and watch how the woman in that is writhing with pain. And if you can convey that to Luke without him seeing it, then that will make my job easier when it comes to the sets. All I had to do was push him a little further or a little back, whatever I wanted for the part. But yeah, Luke was amazing in it. Amazing.
Yeah, he was amazing. You felt every agonizing pain that he was. I mean, when he stood there and told his mom, "I don't feel so well," you felt even just those words. He did not feel so well, and you saw it. Yeah. I think one of the most intimate conversations in that whole entire film was when David and his mom were laying in the bed, and when she was talking to him about helping him and how she may not be. I actually teared up. I couldn't believe it. My eyes was watering because you felt that pain for her, and you felt the pain for him. He didn't understand, you know, what was actually happened to him. You know, like, is he going to die? Is he going to live? Is he going to find out? And it was just helpless. She was so helpless, and I felt for that every moment of the way.
Those emotions felt real to me, you know, I know a little bit of that helplessness. I know what it feels like a little bit, you know, not as much as her, of course, but you know, when you have a kid and you can't do anything to help them, or it feels like that, then you do feel totally helpless, you know. And the thing about Luke's character, David, is he can't help what he is. It's not his fault. Yeah, it's just his nature, you know, and he can't do anything to stop it. And also, he is half of his mother, and his mother is good, you know. And I think he's always fighting that inside, but I think it's just too strong for him. It's like an illness; it just takes him over completely, you know. And all his body responds to is what it needs to survive, you know. So that needed to come across as well. That Luke's character needed to be likable always, you know, no matter what happened.
Was the film shot in chronological order?
No, we did it in chronological order per location. So we shot of all Laura's home stuff in chronological order, and we shot, say, all the motels in chronological order. So we went, the hotels were mapped out and how decrepit they were and how bad they looked, you know. So those were shot in order. So we shot the first motel, the second motel, the third motel. I always just like to shoot in order as much as possible, but it's just not possible. Yeah. You know, with location availability and actors availability, all the sort of stuff you're juggling. But quite a lot of it was, but not as much as I would have liked.
One thing that was pretty amazing style in this film was you wasn't sure she was crazy. So you wasn't sure she was crazy. It was written in the way like you were like, maybe she is. You were like, well, maybe she is, because it doesn't seem right. How people disappearing, how people showing up, and weird things going on. It just didn't match up to yourself. Like, I'm crazy. Maybe this is not working out. Okay, is it? Did it happen? Did it happen? But it was written so well that you wasn't sure, but the audience, there were some points where I'm like, okay, it has to be real, because when she meets one of the characters, they were trying to explain to her all these things, but it just seemed out of place, but it made sense. And you were like the fly on the wall the entire time. You seeing these things fold out, and it's like, no, she did see it. Like, you want to say it to the screen, but they can't hear you. The detective, Paul, I love his character as well, because you still wasn't sure about him, and you wasn't sure all the way. Like, you just like, maybe he's helpful, maybe he's not. And he performed that so well that you just felt there was a lot of uncertainty, but it was good uncertainty, because it drawed you in. You pulled you into the film, and you wanted to know more. What happens next? What happens next? What happened next? And then when stuff started to reveal itself, it just, touched on so many sensitive areas and so much emotion in that film. You were just really blown away. The performance, even the set, everything looked so authentic and real. And just, when she wrote the sign, "He is coming," it just, okay. Then you're like, who's coming? Who's coming? Who is it?
Exactly. Well, we always thought about that with the writing as well. It was when I was writing, I was always very careful to, okay, we see things from her point of view. We're with her. But then in the very next scene, someone says, actually, she's crazy. It's not real. So the audience is going, is it? Isn't it? And the next scene, we're seeing things that she sees. Again, we're seeing it through her eyes. So we say, no, it's real. But in the next scene, somebody else says she's crazy, So it's constantly wrong-footing the audience, And with Paul, spoiler alert, I didn't so much want it to come out of the blue that he's in on it, but I wanted the audience always to be questioning whether he was, you know what I mean? So, and I think there's a difference. It's like, oh yeah, he's in on it. Oh no, he isn't. Oh, he is. No, he isn't. Which is different from bang. Oh, he suddenly is. I did think about that, constantly wrong-footing the audience. And also I tried to do with my films as well. I try and make films that you can watch them multiple times and see different things in it each time, And because we're inside Laura's head for most of it, we're also seeing her nightmares, and that's why I ended the film with the song "I'll See You Someday in Dreamland," and I think that's very appropriate for the film,
Yeah, it definitely gave such a creep factor, because it's such uplifting, and you're kind of like, did we watch the same film?
It's just kind of this warped happy ending, It's this evil father reunited with his son,
Yes, I love the demon, even though you didn't see what it was. I mean, you saw it, but you didn't, and parts of it was so ambiguous, but then you saw a glimpse, and it's different. It's different than any movie I've ever seen, because it always looked this one way. I don't care what horror film you looked at, the demon always looks similar, the same, but this one was, I was like, what the oh my goodness, this is
what
different.
Is it? Yep.
And you don't know, because you never really saw it. The way it turned out for you, is it something that you were surprised how everyone like just gripped on and just absolutely just love this film? Because it's so different. The acting's great, everything's great. I mean, that must have just like, wow, I touched on something here, something different.
Well, I mean, of course you hope, but you never know when you're making it whether it's going to have that effect or not. But something I always do with all my films, and is that I put so much research and preparation into every frame of the film, and every prop in the film I handpick, every color, the walls, everything, and I always hope that care and attention brings the film to another level, and therefore it will connect with more people, my own feelings into the film, I hope that because it's so sincere and heartfelt, I also hope that connects with people as well. But some people really passionately like the film, but there's also people who passionately hate it as well and just don't get it, which is great as well, because at least their hate is passionate, and it touched the chord with them. It rubbed them up the wrong way, if you know what I mean, and which I think is great. I think it's great in art, that is. The films I always loved growing up were the ones that were divisive, that always divided the audience. That some people loved them, some people hated them, but you couldn't have no opinion of it, if you know what I mean. So I always hope my films have that as well, and so far that's pretty much the way they've gone. Some people love them, some people hate them. And I think it's building all the time that more and more people are discovering it, especially now that it's on Shudder, where it's finding the right audience, and they're really, really responding to it, which is great.
Yeah, that's what's great about Shudder. I mean, there's so many types of films on there for everyone. So if you don't like this film, there are more on there to check it out. But Sun is amazing. I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. If you guys want to watch Sun, please check it out. It is streaming right now on Shudder. It is amazing. You will be blown away. It's very deep, so you're definitely going to enjoy it. But thank you so much, Ivan, for being here today. And you have a wonderful evening.
You too.
For more reviews and interviews like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the like button, and leave a comment if you can.